and the other enemy mid is running around killing. We saw the Tide have a great game, but Salmus, he just walked down there and killed him, got his game back, and now you're having Impact, Gunner, he just couldn't find his way back in.
And that play we saw earlier, that was the first move that Nouns tried with that smoke, where they tried to blow everything on the Spectre. They threw in the Ravage, the Mystic Flare, they brought in the Monkey King, but they just couldn't quite get the kill, and they all get wiped as a result. And after that, it just felt like a downhill battle, Lacoste.
Pretty much. I mean, they did not get a single kill for 23 minutes on Nouns. The second one was at 8-minute mark, but after that, it was all Azure Ray. Lack of damage, I think this last pick didn't work out. Nouns, they were always a team that were pretty hipster when it comes down to Dota picks. This is their bread and butter pretty much, but I think they picked heroes and they got counterpicked. Seems like Chinese teams come into the series today with a lot of preparation. Like you see this first pick, Scarlet Mage, Spectre immediately, like Treant Protector as well, so they have a big plan. I think this combo is also slightly broken, I would say, because you pick up the Shard on 15 and just scout things out. This is everything that Tian Ming was doing, providing vision for Spectre to jump, and also they have a Centaur. Have in mind that this was also Monkey King into Centaur, so even if you don't want to take a fight, even if the game is slightly more closer, you can still disengage. Like, there's not enough lockdown, there's not enough stuns to keep you inside Wukong so Monkey can deal the damage.
Yeah, this was very strong coming out from Azure Ray. This was the first Phantom Lancer we saw as well. Had no game whatsoever. Of course, wants to go for a long game, did not happen. And there's a lot to think about for the side of Nouns, and they have some time, of course, here in this break. And while they are thinking about what they're going to do better in game number 2, we are going to check in with Tsunami, who has a special guest.
That's right. If you may recall, friends, in TI's past, oftentimes the analysts can do their job, but we have some special predictions sometimes. And in this case, I have a representative from both of the teams going up against each other right now. My friend, introduce yourself.
For you today. Here to dish about all things going on in Harlem recently is the incredible and brilliant Councilwoman Rio Morales. Good to have you.
All right. That's the Azure Ray representative, and my friend, you're representing Nouns. Introduce yourself.
I'm Sasquatch, co-founder of Nouns. Let's fucking go, NA Dota.
Yes.
That's what I like to see. But I also want someone very special. So, crowd, could you please welcome the Wolf of Ice Rack?
Bloom.
That is gorgeous. But when you see them, tell them I said thank you.
Here she is. You can thank her yourself.
That's right, everyone. It's the Wolf of Ice Rack and Crystal Maiden. How's it going?
Your services.
What's up?
Right, yes. All right, friends. As we all know, the Wolf of Ice Rack loves to be fed. So I've got here 2 pieces of food, and we're going to let this dog decide between the 2 of you. Azure Ray or Nouns. Who is going to win this series? Wolf, are you ready? My friends, please try to win over the Wolf of Ice Rack. My friends, the Wolf has made its decision. We might be going to a 3-game series. I appreciate the effort. It was admirable. But Nouns. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. And thank you very much for your contribution.
TI is just another day. Girl, you gotta slay. Go.
My friends, the Wolf has made its
Is here, Lacoste, because there is a lot to think about, and we have seen Nouns experiment in the past also with the series. This was an experimentation, and sometimes experiments go wrong and they go back to what works.
Yeah, sometimes these experiments, they take long, sometimes years, but they don't have that much time. I feel like now they need to go back to their bread and butter. It's theory crafting. This last pick didn't work out, just scratch it, start a new one. And I also feel that they might need to risk slightly more. I don't think this was overall a good Monkey game. There was this one highlight where they rotate the support, something that we did mention, where they can like play around, maybe gank Clash Track, but other than that, they just lack damage. And we can see Moo, stats don't lie, 0, 6, and 0. Basically, you didn't get the chance to play the game.
This is a painful stat to look at, Effie.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't much that you can do at this point as a Tidehunter because, yeah, you're sitting there in the middle of the fight, you're trying to tank damage, you press your Ravage, but if the rest of your team is doing so poorly, what really can you do? And what I want to highlight is that I think that picking PL into a team like Azure, which have just shown us that their fundamentals are so good, that their early game is good, their tempo is good, they will rotate, counter-rotate, and take all of your towers. You cannot play for that ultimate late game PL win condition type. You need a hero on K1 that can fight with your team. You need to be able to fight and farm. We need to see those CKs again. We need that CK, maybe that Wraith King, potentially even that Slark, but anything that can exploit somebody on lane and join fights. Picking PL into Azure, that is unthinkable for game 2.
Unthinkable for game 2. I just want to have more action. I feel like, Nouns didn't really get to play Dota. Maybe they can do so in game number 2. But before we get to game number 2, we are going to learn a little bit more about Azure.
我们怎么组队是因为当时我们3个都没有队伍嘛，然后我们在一起直播看比赛，然后可能路遥 maybe 他就是心血来潮吧，突然想组个队，大家的可能激情更多一点吧，因为大家都没有工资，然后就是单纯的为了成绩，2个没有就是一起组过队的选手嘛，就是天命和楼。就大家也处于一个蜜月期吧，差不多这样子。
Despite forming late in the year, Azure still managed to leave a mark at the Bali Major, but even with their impressive performance, their shortage of DPC points directed their path to TI through the challenging Chinese qualifiers.
这次预选赛，说实话打得挺艰难的，因为我们在训练中对于叉 G 这个战队的。就是训练胜率并不是很高，然后打起来也是有不少的心理压力的。但是可能我们就是比赛经验更丰富点吧，可能临场发挥还有 BP 这些做的比叉 G 好，就是可能运气也好一点。我们磨合的也很快这个比赛，然后也解决了很多问题，对我们这次 TI 会有个很好的就是调和剂的作用吧，相当于有一点点激动的吧。就虽然打了很多次比赛，打了很多届 TI， 但是我也知道这次 TI 我们能出现很不容易。然后天命比较激动吧，就是他第一次进 TI， 整个职业生涯让我学到的 TS 算是一件吧，就是可能自己当时对这个荣誉啊，还有冠军的，就是那种重视度不是高到必须要拿到它，就是当时还是可能自己是享受这个比赛吧。然后现在就是可能现在很希望当时自己再重视一点吧，就是可能会拿到冠军。
It does sound like the philosophy from Azure is working in fear. This is like almost, I feel like a dream stack. It's like, hey, you want to play? Sure, I want to play. Let's go. We got these couple guys. Let's just do it. Of course, Extreme Gaming, Aster in the qualifier, they were able to make it through that, and they're just here to enjoy the journey.
I mean, it's just not any couple guys, right? Like some FY, some Chalice, some Somnus, and then, yeah, you get a couple new guys to the squad. You already have a bunch of veterans with a lot of experience. Maybe, they're getting a little older in age. They weren't having the success. They were thinking about potential retirement, even though they're still good enough, right? The hunger, I'm sure, was still there. They wanted to compete. Just maybe their past results weren't good enough for them, and they were losing motivation. But you get enough of those people together, you reignite that passion, and then you get a team like Azure that's just owning right now.
Yeah, they're owning. They said they just play together. They don't have a salary. They're just playing for the achievement, Lacoste, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it says a lot about the team, coming into TI and just forming as a team, knowing that you're not going to have a salary and you're playing just for the achievements and playing for that prestige. And which bigger prestige can you play other than TI? It's a lot of prestige in the line. Being embodied in that Aegis. Anyone who clicks, there's going to be your name, and it says a lot about the team. And I just love that they managed to, like as Fear said, ignite that fire. Because I followed FY closely, and there was a time during Elephant where the team didn't manage to succeed. And when he joined the team, he. didn't look as good for like 5 days, and then afterwards it's old FY. It's like, man, how's this guy so good? Because he didn't play for a relatively long time, and when he came back, he's just like FY God once again.
FY got here to play, and at the moment here to stay. We have to talk a little bit about how Nouns can do better in game number 2, because I feel like, other than, was it only the draft, Effie? Do you feel like Nouns can shake this off as, hey, draft issue, that we tried something, didn't work out, something new?
I mean, it wasn't only the draft. I feel like they could have definitely played cleaner. There was a moment where Azure was just diving the PL top and nobody responded. It really took them a while to get the kill, but at that point it felt like the game had slipped out of their hands. For the most part, I feel like Nouns are a team that are capable of a lot. They just need to enable themselves to do so. They need heroes that can fight early on. In the Chinese teams today have shown us that they will not allow you to play for the late game. They're gonna fight you from the very beginning. So you need to be able to fight back. You need the treants yourself, you know? You need the CKs, you need the Phoenixes. Anything that can take those early team fights and win them, Nouns should be looking at.
Okay, we're gonna find out what Nouns has. The draft is right around the corner. Before we get there, though, let's learn more about them.
During Tours 1 and 2, Nouns found themselves in 3rd for North America, missing out on the Lima and Berlin majors. But in Tour 3, after besting TSM, they clinched a spot in the Bali major, only to exit early in the group stage.
At the Bali major, we just crumbled. We started out really strong with a 3-1 on day 1, and then going into days 2 and 3, like, we just didn't play as well. Honestly, we weren't as good as a team together. We were just not our best selves.
Shaking off their Bali setback, Nouns faced a new challenge. Without enough DPC points for a direct TI spot, their sights were set on the North American qualifiers.
Once we played against Wild Card, it was a bit more stressful because they were the first real opponent we faced, and it was also, we were playing against our ex-teammate that we had replaced just before. It felt kind of bad to beat them because I still consider Husky a good friend of mine. Once we got to the finals, I feel like we were all just so confident in ourselves at that point. Like I in particular was very comfortable with what I wanted to play. I was very confident in my teammates to do their job and perform. It's like you hit the point where there's no more time to learn or get better. It's just hope that you're ready and just play.
The Omni slash out takes them all down. Triple kill, and Nouns are going to TI.
Once we won, it was a mixed bag, I think. So Gunnar was almost like I don't want to say shocked, but like I feel like he was just like taking it in for a moment. I think he was relieved because he's been in this situation so many times. These last chance qualifiers, right? Like I think like 3 times in a row or 4 times. So finally winning and like winning at 3-0 like pretty confidently probably felt really validating to him, and I'm glad that he got to feel that way because he's a really good player. I was happy. I was like, wow, I'm here. Like, take a moment and appreciate that, right?
They're happy to be here, and they have already made it to the upper bracket. And they, of course, look to move very much further. But first, they need to win another game to force out that 3rd. Can they do it?
Nouns versus Azure. Game 2.
A lot of pressure on this squad. They also know that if they drop down, they have a match with another North American team. So it's, you know, they rather move forward here so they don't have to deal with familiar foes. They need to win this upcoming game, though. And I think we heard Moo talk about their performance at the Bali Major, where they bummed out. They came 16th, 15th, 16th. I think maybe, Effie, that might have been a blessing in disguise for a squad that doesn't normally make it to LANs, to have that experience at LAN. Of course, they didn't do well, but it did have them learn a lot to make it here.
Of course. I mean, being on that international stage, playing against teams from other regions and not just the teams that you scrim on the regular, teaches you so much. But also it gives you hope, right? Once you get to these lands, once you get to experience the vibe of playing in front of a crowd, of meeting other people, and just you can envision a path for yourself where it becomes a reality for you. So I think that Nouns definitely learned a lot from it, but have they learned enough? We're just gonna have to see right now.
It's all about adaptation and being able to adjust your ideas in relatively short time spans here. We got Spirit Breaker making it through the opening bans, and that means we're gonna see Nouns on that one, potentially on the Moo side. That will be lovely. And Azure Ray, they opened with the CK.
Hope those kids enjoy
on
the
that
autumn
dire
sunshine.
side. Fira, what are you thinking at the moment?
Well, I'm thinking right now that Azure Ray is taking the CK away from Hector because they realize how strong this team is. I kind of mentioned before that Nouns is a team that they're still figuring it out. And we heard in the interview with Moo that they don't have any more time to learn. They're just going to hope they're good enough. And I think they're kind of experimenting a lot as well along the road. And what has been working is the CK. Got banned last game. This time it's taken away. And Moo, he got a Spirit Breaker. It's literally in his name, Moo. He loves playing the cow. And he's really good at it. He's been very passionate about this hero, even when it wasn't good. So now that it's meta, it's even better.
And it's a dynamic, active, early game type of hero that they lacked in the last game, where they were getting run over and bodied by Azure Ray. So it already looks better for them in the sense that their draft looks like it's gonna fight more, even though this is the only hero that we see.
Yeah, they're
You know
definitely
it's gonna be everywhere.
not gonna have 2 kills in this game. You have Spirit Breaker, so you have that covered. He ended up the game with 0-6 and 0, so this time we can expect Move to move much more around the map and get involved early on. On the other side, Azure Ray picking up CK and also picking up Grimstroke. This hero has been amazing. This hero seems to be the hero of the playoffs. I would say, even though the day one is still not finished, the hero just has so many good synergies. When we talk about all of these tanky offlaners that they go in, or in the safe lane, Spectre, CK as well gives you a ton of potential. I also want to see which hero Hector is going to play, because they're going to need to figure out how to deal with this CK. If you know how to play a CK, you should know how to deal with him as well, because what he wants to do is jump in, like get his explosive damage with Blink Dagger lock onto a target and kill it. So you could potentially see, you know, some Battle Fury carry coming out, unless you want to pick Sven immediately, because he does have Battle Fury built in. Maybe something like a Troll. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah, that's going to be the test here, because he's played both those heroes already, and he's lost with both of them. The only heroes he has one with is the CK, Naga's Band, and the Faceless Void, but it's not a particularly good Faceless Void game. So this is going to be a true test for Nouns here. They're going to have to play a new hero on Hector, and they're going to have to win with it if they want to keep their dreams alive on the road to International in this upper bracket.
Yeah, I like the sound of that troll a lot. Actually, it's the fighting type of carry that we were talking about before, and just the axes versus the CK is always going to be valuable, and you can scale against him. Plus, you have the Train Protector keeping your heroes alive, keeping your towers alive, allowing you to go into that late game. That doesn't sound like a bad idea at all. Also, I feel like the Willow is quite underrated in her ability to control these CK type of heroes, have a bunch of illusions or these Nagas in your face, running at your team. You can just terrorize them away, give your team a little bit of time to reset, and
around here somewhere.
potentially take a better fight.
I have to tell Pete.
I want to see the life stealer here for K1. It would be really nice for me because you can Infest Bomb with the Spirit Breaker. You're laning versus Dawn Breaker and Tusk, so you don't take that bonus damage while raged. You can fight back, and it can be high tempo. Spirit Breaker is a deceptive hero right now in a lot of ways. I think this hero deals to CK pretty well with how much damage this bash does. So it already does a lot of AoE, and Lifesteal, you can buy a Mjolnir on top of it. But I want to see him get out of the laning stage and be more aggressive, and that could be a good hero for it.
But just being able to bash through all of the illusions is really helpful, right? And then once you get that Octarine Core and that Agnums, your charge is coming up every 7 seconds.
Speaking of bashing, though, this is a different hero.
It's a lot of bashing.
More bashing.
Speaking of stuns, I see Azure Ray having multiple stuns, leash mechanics. This hero, like this whole lineup that they just picked for themselves is super easy to play. This is going to be your off-lane duo, your safe lane duo, so now you're going to be looking for the mid laners for both of these teams. And I feel like it's so much easier to execute what Azure Ray picked for themselves.
I agree. I just think that the side lanes on Azure are so clear in how they're going to be played out. I mean, the Tusk plus Dawnbreaker is a combo as old as time. Ever since Dawnbreaker came out, just the tag team into the Starbreaker is so much damage. You have this Dawnbreaker to counter any kind of overgrowth from Treant. It can heal on top of the Chronosphere and just be able to instantly join the fight. And then of course you have the Grimstroke plus CK. Like the Inkswell on this CK on lane is so easy to get kills. And as the game progresses, the Soulbind into the double stun is not something to be underestimated either.
The question is, where's the damage going to come from with this Faceless Void? Sure, you can use Bedlam nowadays on allied heroes, so that's a benefit, but there's no damage inside a Chronosphere. And if you look how many saves they have, this is Solar Guardian on top of the Chrono, Snowball later on, Grimstroke with the shard pickup, so you'll have the spell mechanic. So very difficult fights, and they also need to invest a lot, because these heroes are not that good at resetting. Sure, like Faceless Void is, Spirit Breaker want to get the charge, but like where's the damage? This mid laner needs to deal ton, and I already see Invoker being banned out just for this Cataclysm combo with the Faceless Void and also Earth Spirit. So something that can come on early on, but also still has some damage that they can throw inside the Chrono.
I definitely considered the Faceless Void because I know why they picked it. They picked it because the lane, it should be good versus Dawn Tusk, or it should survive. Let's put it that way. Use your combo on him, you just time walk it off, right? And that's the good part about it. However, the one thing I don't like is everything you're mentioning. Like, it's not really a good Faceless Void scaling because you need to do all the work. And just because you can survive this combination doesn't mean you're gonna win it. So they needed to get some type of damage coming from the mid lane. A lot of them were banned, as mentioned. Maybe you could have went for a siege or something. But they're going to go for the Keeper Light. This one's super fast. You can get around the map. So I do like this in the regard that this Spirit Breaker plus Caudle, he's going to buy Boots of Travel on Caudle. Spirit Breaker is going to be all across the map. You can play really fast if you're announced this game. And that'll give K1 a lot of time to do his thing and brew it up in the kitchen and get really big.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with Caudle for me is while this hero does a lot of damage and runs around the map and is super speedy, he can get punished so easily by just a simple way to jump onto him, right? Like if this Tusk gets a like dagger early on, his lane is fine takes him a few times, you have the Dawnbreaker Solar Guardian to follow up on it, and you can consistently get kills on this mid Caudle with just a few support rotations. And then you could have some kind of Link long range type of hero coming out from the offlane, like some Queen of Pain, maybe even a Storm Spirit. Any kind of hero of that archetype that can jump on this Caudle plus one support rotation should be enough to deal with it.
I like Buck a lot because they don't have enough damage. You can dodge the charge. It synergizes as well with Dawnbreaker. Not the biggest fan of the hero right now. Also, you have Leech Mechanic, another Leech Mechanic against Faceless Void. So pre-BKB, you're going to have... I don't think they should be worried about not having enough stuns in control because, as we already said, every single hero does have a stun. But I feel like this could work out because... But on the other side, Spirit Breaker plus Keeper of the Light, that's a strong combo. Having Chakra Magic, lower cooldown. We've seen some like new tech build on Spirit Breaker with Octarine Core, and also going into Refresher as your like 4th, 5th item with the BKB, where you lock onto one target and just kill it. Refresh, another charge, another strike.
God, that sounds miserable to play.
It really is.
The thing about this Nouns lineup is, you know that with the Spirit Breaker plus the Treant Protector, they are going to be able to hold out for a very long time. With the armor on the towers and Spirit Breaker at some point clearing every wave over and over. I mean, this hero is so obnoxious to play against into the late game.
And there's that puck, does exactly what you guys are describing, jumping the backlines. How hard is it for Nouns to play that game that you're describing right now, Lacoste?
I'd say very difficult. Also, like the lane matchup, Keeper of the Light against Buck, you see this blast coming. One of the reasons why I mentioned it is like you're not going to be able to deal damage to this Buck, so the only way this Buck dies is if he's caught inside of the Chronosphere. But then again, there is Solar Guardian, there is a Snowball. I feel like they're going to have the same issues that they have in the first game. Not enough damage and just not enough synergy with the Chronosphere and the heroes that they have.
I think that they actually have a pretty solid draft because once they get that Hex built up on the Caudle, they'll have ways to catch this puck, right? And so long as the Spirit Breaker can keep cutting the waves and playing his game and extending that game, then Faceless Void will get to a point where he doesn't necessarily need that damage in Chronosphere. So it looks a lot better for Nouns in this game, but based on what I saw from Game 1, I feel like Azure Ray just have every single fundamental right. They're going to play for every rune. They're going to rotate whenever they can, and they're not going to allow themselves to get their carry ganked.
Yeah, we talk about short cooldowns on the side of Nouns. They can definitely fight. Maybe wait a little bit for that Faceless Void. What about Azure Ray here, Fear? How fast can they play this game?
Well, they can play incredibly fast if they want to. I think this puck, like, he can't be charged, can't be illuminated, and how are you going to catch this puck in this game? It's going to be very difficult.
It's going to be very difficult, but let's see if Nouns can force out that third game. We're heading over to OD Pixel.
Some kind of ranking system. Looks like she's
Thank you very much. Yes, game 2 ready to go here between Nouns and Azure Ray. And as we have for the panel, one thing for sure, it definitely seems that this draft for Nouns, it's an improvement on what we had from them in game 1.
Definitely.
But once again, Fogged, especially towards the end of the draft this time round, Somnus getting his hand on quite a nice-looking hero for this type of game.
Yes, pretty much no disables. He has great ways to catch, as we've seen. We've seen Coddle now for a couple of years now, especially being played in the mid lane, and there's been quite a few answers. We saw the Kunkka ban coming out, especially from Nouns. That's one of the biggest ones to catch. Puck is another one. It's the Puck, the Kunkka, and the Storm in particular are the big ones that I've seen a lot of times people play versus. So let's see if Gunner's going to be able to protect himself, because they have so many ways to get on him in this game. The Dawn ult with the Puck, if they do get any spell on Gunner, he's just going to die. So let's see what he's going to be able to do. It looks like a better draft overall from Nouns, but it does feel like Azure, they have so many answers again.
Yeah, and on a carry that K1 not only is going to be able to have a bit more impact with, but a hero that should be able to get a bit more out of the laning stage, right, compared to what he was able to do as PL. Void, as the panel was saying, shouldn't really be dying down here. Should be perfect.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the more common ones I've seen versus like the Dawn in a way, right? Because you can always get the reset, you have the bash, so you can always trade with her effectively. But there's definitely a lot of kill threats because it is an FY Tusk, right? We have to say, the Tusk King himself is playing his hero, opting for a Blightstone early on, so they're looking to be incredibly aggressive, and let's see what we get going off on these first few minutes.
That felt kind of nice.
On the Spirit Breaker this time round. You like to see it's a bit more than on the Tide. It feels like a hero that Moo can do a bit more aggressively with. You know, last game he got fantastic farm on the Tide, but not much more that he could do in a game that's going downhill in the fashion that one was to sort of just sit there and try and live as long as he can. This time round he gets a good start, he gets a good farm, he can start making the moves himself.
Absolutely. I mean, this hero, it's pretty busted, right? It's a Spirit Breaker. This hero, just as we've seen, it's good early, it's good mid, it's even better late. It gets to these ridiculous portions, so on paper, it should be able to have an overall better time, but catching the puck is still going to be an issue. So we'll have to see if that itemization does come out, like Effie said, you know, the eventual Hex or whatever like the Coddle would like to be able to have that. So let's see how these lanes do end up going down. And let's see how I think top could be a little bit of a difficult one. That's the one thing for Moo. This is definitely not an easy lane for the Spirit Breaker.
Absolutely. I mean, definite kill potential from Azure Ray's duo.
Bottom.
Samson able to keep himself alive there with the ticks of the lead seed.
I mean, Moo as well too might just die top. Like, this is just incredibly aggressive.
It is indeed your first blood this time. This game 2 coming out nice and early here for Azure Ray. 1 minute in low. He's the one to claim it.
It really does feel like they have formula again to probably win all 3 lanes. Mid, perhaps Gunner can get a, maybe it'll be a trade farm of that one, so probably 2-1 lanes, but definitely feels like they have a recipe to be able to do that. It's a lot of aggression that can come out if you do get an early advantage with Azure. These heroes, all of them, as they said, everyone has a stun. Everyone can make moves.
Talking about making moves for Nouns as well on their side of things, right? Gunner on the Col, very different dynamic to when he was doing the Monkey King last game in terms of what he wants to get out of it with this build up into a Radiance. He gets his bots and he's going to be ready to turn up wherever and whenever he's needed.
Absolutely. He just has to, it's going to be positioning, and more than that, it's like somebody else has to give him the information first before Gunner shows up, because Gunner has to know, in particular, where this Tusk is, where the puck is, because if they get on him, there's going to be the follow-ups always in that early mid-game, so I think most of this game for me is going to be up to Gunner's first like 15 minutes for the side of Nouns. How much he's going to be able to slow down the aggression that we've seen from Azure.
Having to be careful up top. Get too close low, and they'll definitely look to get aggressive. Trying to get the wave in a bit of a better spot to, if they can, set up for an opportunity to go for another kill top.
Yeah, the power of the CK. You just never can really keep this hero low. He's always just full HP in the laning phase. He's got a great combo bottom.
They go Samson in with a damage snowball as well.
Massive.
Both side lanes here for Azure Ray, getting kills early on.
This lane is, I love watching this Dawn Tusk, honestly. I mean, we've seen Shopify do it so much throughout multiple different tournaments. I'm glad we're seeing other teams do it as well. Constant kill threat.
May indeed be a lane that K1 can survive in, but again,
he's getting
struggling to get the CS down in.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is annoying, you know, the little bit of aspect of like attack speed slow, right? Like this, I think this Tusk, this hero has, we've been seeing more and more of it throughout this tournament. I'm really like, even seeing the little things of this attack slow, it is annoying in late.
Oh, it absolutely messes up with your last hit.
Always.
Absolutely. It really does.
Lotus, they'll be able to claim that one. Top, looks like they were able to get the one on Nouns. What's that? Gunner's holding his own. Yeah. He has that good lane so far for himself.
I mean, as should be, right? Yeah, sure, you're not necessarily going to be able to connect with every blast onto the puck, but you're going to be able to push and nuke the wave back out against the pressure of Somnus with his own orb. So
yeah.
Both mids, they're going to farm.
Yep, and Gunner is very, very comfortable with this. He played it for a long time. He's doing the stacks. He's getting those going already for himself. So, yeah, I think he's going to be eyes on him, at least for me, to watch what he's going to have to do for these side lanes a bit here. Because as you were saying, yeah, K1 still struggling, Moo as well. That was unlucky for Gunner. Gunner just missed twice uphill to stack his own camp. Very unfortunate for him. Lelis will do a little bit of helping though for Gunner, at least take away that water rune away from Somnus. Somnus still pretty much full mana, full health though, so it doesn't hurt him too much.
I'm on it. Do you imagine once sort of the sixes hit on Somnus, are we to expect moves from Azure Ray supports to come and look for the kill mid, or will he be looking to a side lane gang for Somnus?
Honestly, it could be either one. I think they can make, it depends on what he wants, how much priority they, he might talk to his other lanes and just be like, how's the Void doing? Do I need to actually make the move down there? No? Okay, you guys come in and let's just kill this Coddle. He's the only one who's having a good game, so they have options at this point so far. 2-0 to the side of Azure.
Yeah, they're gonna know that K1's not getting a lot out of this bottom lane.
They're just in. The X-Well.
They can close in with the snowball. They certainly can. Snowball into the X-Well stun. Yamson nowhere to run. Another kill. Azure Ray.
Cool. They bring the third hero up there. I guess they're just like, yeah, our CK low is not getting slowed down whatsoever. We can make this quick little easy play to get a kill and keep ourselves rolling. Hot start again, 3-0. But Gunner is the one who's farming. So it's going to be eyes. It's really going to be how much he's going to be able to do. Early boots travel. Can definitely look to make some moves around. But does have to watch out also because he's going to be a pretty pinata for once Chalice has level 6 as well too. They can get on him.
Keys to the reptile house.
Connection with the Brown Warrior, so not a chance to continue with that move onto low. Yeah, the thing is for Gunner as well, when he is making those moves to the side lanes, once he has the bots, you just know that Somnus is going to be as quick with the TP.
He will be.
You get an unpunished with Dream Coil. Again, potentially start to see some sort of the similar moves that we had in the game one, where Nouns, they were trying to go for these players under these towers, and Azure Ray, they were shutting them down early.
Where'd she sneak off to? They're going to be tanky, and they're going to have all that extra little bit of healing that comes in too, right? The Dawn, the CK with his own built-in lifesteal.
And they've got so many ways to turn.
So much.
Save with the snowball.
Yep.
Bottom lane, they'll look for K1. They've got the silence out here. Jianming joins forces with the other two of them to go and take down the Void. Let's see if they can get more. Gunner in response, able to blast FY.
Can he get more?
Got any way to stop this? They don't.
Nope.
Jianming is back through the gate. Back up to the top lane. He's perfectly fine.
And I like that we see the skill build come out from Tianming. Just having that little bit of pointed silence, it's always going to be very effective versus this Faceless Void in particular.
Yeah, that whole move and sort of skill build completely catching K1 by surprise.
Yep. A good kill though for Gunner, and I believe that is his boot to travel finished up at the least there, so keeping himself up there. But it does feel like, I feel like this has to be the most active Keep It Alight almost ever. He's got to make these constantly. His top also.
He's already used the charge, and even if he had it, he's out of mana. Another kill to be granted here towards Xiaoming and Low in this safe lane.
Wisdom runes, perhaps now it's going to be able to get both of them here. I see Yamsun's making his move toward the opposing one while Lelis is going to get his. So again, might be able to get those early ones. I think they also got both, or they denied at least one and took the other one last time in the first two, but it didn't end up changing too much of the outcome, of course. But at least 2 Wisdom runes, so supports will be high level. Lelis is 5 now.
Hard for these two alone to make them move on towards K1. Unless Jianming comes in to join them. K1, he's hit the 6 as well. So Chronosphere could be the tool required to buy time and set up for Nouns to turn things. If Azure Ray do try and get aggressive on towards the Void close to his tower.
Yep, and they have the boots of travel. So they have the hero that wants to be able to join with that Chrono.
They'll have the damage.
They should have the damage.
Top lane move. The silence into the Inkswell. And he's still going to get the charge off. So this time round, Moo able to live.
He's coming back over. They don't have vision of him though.
Checking it out.
Somnus playing around bottom. K1 has to be very careful showing himself down here. And
he's playing careful enough, yeah. Somnus isn't going to spend any more time looking for the action there.
However, Gunner, he'll get Northwest. He'll be able to get it up top. And now they're going to look to make their move. Lelis, still not quite 6, but still very high level on this Willow at the moment. Do they have the damage for low? He's got Phantasm at the random, and he's got a healing Lotus. And they have level 6 now on Chalice, so this move could quickly get turned around.
Somnus has a TP as well. He can turn up
This
and
could
turn
be
things
scary.
around if Nouns don't get a quick kill.
Oh, okay.
Phantasm gets taken down as soon as it was summoned there. The blast coming in, the TPs, they're going to be coming in now. Solar Guardian as well.
Bit off the mark.
They've just got to back off. If Nouns get out with everyone alive, it's not too bad. They also respond from Azure Ray. They don't lose anything themselves now.
I mean, it's 5 heroes rotating, so a nice little bait play there perhaps from Nouns. Maybe they lose one.
Block off here from FY. Do they have the stun in time? They certainly do. Inkswell's there, they'll let it off, they'll take Yamson down. So kills found, but certainly could have got a lot worse there for now. Just you lose the support, and very much space literally created there for K1. He is very happy on the other side of the map.
Yeah, maybe a little bit hungry there from Chalice. He used it very early, like nobody was even low. I think ideally most situations you'll see is like as the coil comes out, or if there's a chrono that comes out in particular, that's when that Donald will come out. Chalice is a little bit very happy. They do get 1 kill, but I don't think they're too upset about that because they're able to get away. And they're going to go greedy. It's going to be a very greedy build that we do see coming around. That's why Gunnar, his early game has to be perfect. His Spirit Breaker is going to go minus. His Void is going to go minus. Gunnar needs to have a perfect mid game.
One of those patches where 2 cores have got a Midas, one's rush to boost the trap.
Yeah.
Greed is good. Is he going to be good enough for now? We'll see.
We'll see, because Azure, they're not going greed. Not by any means. They are looking for full aggression.
Set up a Chalice. Do they need to or want to drop the chrono for this one? TPs are going to be coming in. K1, he doesn't want to commit here as he will jump back. And in fact, sorry, he was all still on cooldown the last 2. See if they can get away with this under the tower. They can.
Let's get you out of there.
Nice kill to be found there under the tier 1. They'll get away with that.
Great play there. Moog charging across the map, giving that vision the whole time.
Still a minute until K1's going to be able to have the chrono back up again. But it's a little bit of playing space.
Gunnar.
The Midas done.
Somnus is on him.
Lay down the fear and return to catch Somnus, but he's able to dodge it with a phase shift. Snowball in over towards Gunnar. He is trapped and taken down. Maybe able to find him more Azure Rays. They get themselves in on top of Lelis. The X-Force stun catches him as the Shadow Realm comes to an end. The trap's there from FY with the shards down. Azure Ray, they'll take down the 2 of them.
Nothing you can do about that there. He's an invis puck on top of your Coddle. You're just, it's always going to be the case. If they do find the Coddle like that, it's going to be these free frags. He's almost at his Vessel though, so decent farm anyway there for Gunnar, but does get brought down finally from the first move.
You know
Is that what it was? Alrighty, I was wondering why it was down.
That's where the chrono went.
Alrighty.
Alright.
He's a good man.
Well, he's going to have it back up soon. 10 seconds, we'll see K1 have that one ready again.
Yeah, because you're like, he might chrono. I'm like, yeah, he might. Wait, why doesn't he have it?
Well, at least you found out. Thank you very much, production.
Yep. K1. Defensive.
Can he turn? I don't think he's killing anyone here.
1 second stun, he's silenced.
I mean, that was a situation maybe where you just have to chrono and run. Overgrowth's out as well. The Solar Guardians there, they're not even getting FY. FY's perfectly fine. Moog's going to charge across. He might get Xiaomei with the ultimate he does. So they're taking out one of the supports here of Azure Ray.
Gunnar. Be careful, coils back up in Somnus.
Coming on the side. Azure Ray to manage to wrap around and catch Lelis.
Sorry, we're late. I don't think they expected that extra rotation from the CK, right? He tried to go back in with this Void a little bit here, but Azure, they're about punishing. They see the minuses, they see the travel, stuff like that. They're not queuing minuses. They're playing
Better now.
And these early ults are just not working out the way that
There's a lab.
Nouns want them to.
In the
They
atrium.
want them with the Chronosphere,
Might have
Yamson with the Overgrowth. It's just not finding much, if anything at all, for Nouns in this early game.
Like Panel said, right?
Then we'll buy you
definitely
some.
lackluster for quite some time here coming out from Nouns. It's all reliant really on Gunnar getting these
Right up the
connections.
hip.
Yeah, they keep
That
getting on
glass
him.
building.
And now with that coil.
Please.
Now Somnus,
Hurry.
he had
We'll clear a path. Keep your heads down.
Don't worry, Doc. Get you that lab. You're not turning tonight.
Trying the Chalice, the time dilation now on it.
This should be from Gunnar.
It should be a kill. I mean, you have the chance to put himself away with a hammer in a second. Let's run him down, charge him back up. It will be a slow critical death there for the Chalice. So
Hunters
sure
must
fire
have
one.
a death wish.
Take him out, they're the ones to get the kill.
Seems like they're just doing their boss's dirty work.
It's going to be sent out right
Benefits
now.
must be great.
Oh, Spence's goal,
You're
though.
joking at a
Spent
bad
pretty much every
time.
single bit of
You're
it there. He
learning.
almost had the blade mail finished up, so he's not too worried about it. Finn, it did take them some time to change Chalice. They're actually going to get a mid tower out of that ult, too.
Yeah, they don't mind dropping an ult
big slow too that's going to come out the shard. Problematic. And that cooldown chrono off cooldown same time with that spirit form. Sure, definitely much stronger fight. That coil. And Blink finished up on Samus. He's got the gap. So now he can literally just blink on Kano and they can just dawn on him. Get those catches. Gunner has to play. He has to have some information in these fights. Has to have all the protection possible for himself.
For all the chaos that has been going on, only dying the once so far.
Not bad.
Yeah,
not bad.
Fire, you fool!
Should have a solid chance to take him out.
Not good. We better clear these guys out fast.
He's running in.
He's alive.
It's going to be a time the team to hold back. They won't chase any further. We won't let you do that. Bringing in the numbers. Somnus, he's going to be able to catch out.
Right? No appreciation for plot twists these days.
So they don't get Chalice, but again, able to retrieve the majority of their cars. So they only
Not a lot of steam in this group.
So they losses now.
And they aren't doing the move that, you know, whenever you're playing versus Dawn, you want to be ganking them. Because if you don't gank the Dawn in the situation, you just get tired. So they're attempting to make those moves, but Chalice is a bit too tanky. Blade Mail plus, of course, the Spartan Courage. You have ridiculous amounts of armor and tankiness, so, and he survives. And he didn't really have to commit much of anything on the side of Jurgen to really get that little bit of a kill. So they're still ready. They're still ready to look for it. They're not even backing. The thing is that you see them not even backing up. It's been up for over a minute now. But Jurgen just wants to keep playing on the enemy side of the map. They want to keep applying that pressure versus the space.
Get to work! We'll cover you!
They've got Solar Guardian as well.
In with the silence.
I can use this to make an end.
Nothing to be done to save him.
Gunner completes his TP down here. They're a bit careful. Low up top versus Willow. Alright. Another big hit onto that void. K1 continues to struggle while Low just has absolute freedom in the game.
I'm sorry.
Move, get away. Maybe some miscommunication there. I think Somnus supports went in.
He backed off and then, I mean, it did seem like a bit of a deep attempt there from the two supports. It does cost them their lives.
Two nice kills there coming out for Gunner. Not having to commit pretty much anything either there, so. Big tower though, dropping up above. Finish that one up. He's got Somnus on the side too. Well, actually back away. Give respect to the heroes respawning. And now they're back up for that wisdom rune that they didn't get before.
I got you. Holding this tier 1's pretty nice. Not easy for them to
get you out of here.
completely finish off with the living armor. They'll be able to keep it standing strong in this mid lane.
Not great.
Just make sure
Just think.
enable as
They'll
much of their half of the
definitely be
map
your
for
coolest
as long
star.
as possible to get K1 the space that he needs to avoid.
To get the farm. To get that Octarine, of course, for the Spirit Breaker. Take your time, get to that later stages. They need a lot of time.
I'll kill you!
Harry! You can definitely imagine the mechanics. Almost done.
They're going to keep things going. They're going to now have Blink on the tusk. He's probably going to get brought down by Gunner.
I know.
Up top,
It's
K1.
okay.
Looking for any time walks there in time. Low won't manage to pull him back.
Now just making the move. The charge is coming through. Low, mid far forward.
Setting up with the slow. K1 has got the chrono if necessary.
One foot in front of the other. Come on.
Messing around. He'll drop the chrono on the top. They'll bring down Tianming and Low.
Always so busy.
Don't.
They punish him. They see them committing just even a tad bit far forward. They get the TP coming through. A nice charge there from Bill. Tower doesn't get finished off, but great move. Good chrono. Even though it stops the charge.
Hang on.
Slip-ups it feels in the last few moments from Azure, especially sort of the support department. The two of them making that move down middle lane and then getting out of these separate situations. Play down bottom and Tianming up on that attempted play top with Low. It's getting punished. It's giving Nouns the chance to get the with these kills.
Yeah, good moves to punish. I mean, they had solo guard in that last fight too, but Chalice, he was just like, I'm not going up. That's suicide for me too, so a good punishing play that they're able to set up. Chalice, I believe the Deso is finished up though, so imagine they're going to still look to make aggressive plays.
There's the damage is big as well, but not big enough. Move!
Oh, he didn't have the Deso yet. It was just about to get to him on the
That was there.
He would have had him.
Fifth grade when you
Move. Able to survive.
That was literally, Courier was 100 distance away from him having that Deso finished up.
Gunnar, I think there with the force save.
You gotta stay awake, buddy.
Yes, good call.
Under the tower. Not going to be punished for that one as you're able to step in. Somnus now on a mega kill streak on his puck. 5-0-4. Smith tier 1 tower. This time round should go down.
Yeah, finally. Heavy amounts of Midas armor on this Dawn too. The damage that Chalice is going to do is pretty explosive in these fights. Definitely need to keep eyes on this Dawnbreaker. Announce. I mean, they're getting. It's only 4K lead, right? The Midas is definitely starting to kick in there a bit there. Boo. Getting closer and closer to that Octarine, and that's really when the big power spike enable for the Spirit Breaker comes out.
Looking infinitely better than game 1 for now.
Oh, yeah. Completely different.
Probably looks as well. What happened? Around 10%, maybe lower.
Maybe even lower, yeah. Chronosphere still on cooldown.
No. FY with the opening, and Chalice in with the damage.
There's the stack. Finally gets to this. I say finally. He's just got it.
Get him out of here. I'll handle this.
Low?
Okay, one.
Oh, K1. Oh my god.
Little worry there.
That 39%, but he quickly shifted that 10% right over that TP.
Don't want to TP over that outpost when you run out.
Get your boss needs better aim.
Just teasing with
And now FY, he's feeling good after he's now queuing up the Midas on the top, so game state is starting to slow down. Alright. Time game 7 for like 25 minutes. But still looking aggressive at this team up top. They're looking to position for that 21-minute window potentially, and maybe even steal
sorry for it.
that Tormentor away. They're all up here. Ready. Gunner has to be careful.
Definitely a chance for the police to get a fight. Tier 2 with their own ultra ready. He's going towards Thomas aggressively.
Did give away the fact that they did. They're hiding in the tree, and they just don't come there. It's very likely they're going to reward, at least in the area there from Mission, and they're just going to back out of there. They're like, okay, never mind. Screw that Wisdom Rune, screw the Tormentor kind of play that we were thinking of.
FY quick jump in on the mid.
Gunner.
Instead of a gun, he was able to nuke through the creeps there.
Where's that?
Not a chance for Somnus to TP over this one.
I'm on my way.
Maybe it's a chance for Naus to turn. They're in with the charge over towards FY. They'll manage to punish him. Gunner. On a killing spree himself now.
Doing
Once
well.
again, where Azure, it seems like they're supporting F1 Tiaming. They keep trying to set up these moves. This time round, they're not getting away with it. Nouns, they're punishing it time and time again.
I mean, Gunner's force staff now, what, 2 times or 3 times and saved people, and it's causing issues. You see how FY was trying to like angle himself, trying to block it and stuff like that, so that this solo guarding comes in, but nicely done again from Gunner.
One of those situations where, yeah, I think they didn't have the fortifications and maybe try and make the best of the creeps. They couldn't keep it alive. They couldn't allow for the chance for Somnus to boost the travel over on that.
I mean, Gunner is absolutely 5-1-4 so far in the Coddle, so there are quite a bit of ways to get on top of him with the early blinks that they've picked up. Yeah, he's definitely keeping himself up there.
Yeah, they were really missing this sort of impact from him in the last game. He's making up for it here in game 2.
And he has to, right? Like we said, he's got double Midas side laner, so he's got to be having this type of impact so far.
Okay.
So good. But now Roche on the menu. They'll be able to clean this one up very quickly with their items.
Give it to
and the tag team.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I don't know. It just
Now,
sort of happened.
They won't contest it. I'm sure even if they were aware this was going on, they're kind of okay with this, right? They're making the most of the space, as you say, with K1 and Move farming away. Happy to scale. They're not looking for a fight. They're just looking for time.
They just got to get more and more farm, get this Void online, get into those crazy late game talents, the 20 talents in particular. And he is getting more and more protection. He's getting closer and closer to his potential man type, which will help at least versus some of the silences and stuff like that. But it does feel like he's going to need a lot of protection because there's a ton of answers for him.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to try and get the BKB finish first.
Okay, I actually like that better. Yes, yeah.
And a lot of silence, right? You're going to be dispelling one of them, but then the second one's going to be coming in from whether it's the puck or the Grimstroke.
Still does have to watch out, of course, for the Soulbind at some points, even if he does go for this BKB, but still probably the safer route.
need to find Dr. Connors.
The E-Blade Gunner. We've seen already how much damage he can kick out with the Illuminate spam. Now buffed up by the E-Blade.
The serum.
This is a serious amount
He
of
had it around
damage.
his neck. That's
Gunner's
what he
able
used
to
on
find the
Dr.
positioning
Connors.
around a good chronosphere from
If we
K1.
find that serum, we
They'll have
could
the damage to kill
analyze
these
it,
heroes.
use the equipment here to,
And this also,
to
it's
engineer
double,
a cure.
right? It can be aggressive, it can be defensive. He now has multiple different things he can actually do
I'll start
with this
tracking down
itemization
Craven.
that he's gone for.
He's probably already cleared out of that
Lincoln
zoo.
will be there for
Oh, look at
Somnus,
us.
so he'll be able to protect himself versus this charge
Look,
constantly
he's
around the map.
himself
Nouns will be able to get there. Tormentor, and it's gonna go against him. Oh, okay, nice. He actually didn't buy it, I guess. Went for the arcane boots. Kind of poor on the tree this game, so.
Sort of same to step for the supports around the board.
Yeah.
Not like that game one where FY is able to get away with some sort of glide near build.
For now.
It will build
There's
up
this
obviously
pawn shop in
with the
Limbo
Midas, which is
Desert
very
that
close to having done.
specializes in rare
50 gold away
artifacts,
from
just
having
like
that
this
complete
knife.
tusk.
Let's start there.
Good thinking.
And they're making the setup top, but it's
Weirdly
spotted
enough,
immediately. Nouns sees both
he's
supports
energized.
again.
It does.
But oh,
Did that for me too.
How does this thing work?
they're making moves
Honestly,
up here. Nouns has
can't
four
explain
heroes
it.
shifting here.
They can fight this. Let's move.
Okay.
He's gonna go out for Tiami
Maybe
on
it'll
the
help
side.
with finding
Silence comes
Craven
out, so
and
the guy
Serum.
is there ready with the
Just
turnaround.
don't
They catch
get
the stun
stabbed
over,
this
smooth that
time,
turn, they'll punish the breaker.
I usually try not to.
Maybe getting a little bit too aggressive there versus the Grimstroke with a shard.
Maybe even able to find more as well. They get the side.